Picture this. You message her, she reads it, but no reply. Minutes stretch into hours, hours into days. You find yourself glued to your screen, replaying every word you sent, dissecting every pause. What went wrong? That sinking feeling in your chest isn't just disappointment. It's your power slipping away. Because deep down, you know the harsh truth. The one who chases always loses. In today's world, chasing after someone's attention can feel like a never-ending game of emotional tug-of-war. But what if the secret to winning isn't in the chase at all? Friedrich Nietzsche, the infamous philosopher known for his radical ideas on strength and will, didn't waste time begging or pleading for validation. To Nietzsche, true power isn't about running after others. It's about commanding presence and magnetic influence, pulling others toward you effortlessly. This isn't about manipulation or playing mind games. It's about something far more profound and dangerous, breaking free from obsession and neediness, becoming the kind of man who never chases because he doesn't have to, a man who understands his own value so deeply that his confidence becomes irresistible. In this mindset, power isn't given, it's claimed. And once you claim it, you change the entire game. Why do men chase? The biology and psychology behind obsession. At its core, chasing someone, especially in romantic contexts, feels instinctual, yet it is often a trap disguised as natural behavior. Biologically, the pursuit is driven by dopamine, a powerful neurotransmitter linked to pleasure and reward. When a man receives a positive signal, like a text message or attention from a woman, his brain releases dopamine, creating a sensation of craving. This craving is distinct from love. It's more akin to addiction. The intermittent rewards keep the brain hooked, much like how gambling addicts chase unpredictable wins. Thus, the chase feels exciting, but ultimately fuels obsession rather than genuine connection. Emotional dependency compounds this biological effect. Men seeking validation from women often experience their interactions as a series of rewards and punishments. A timely text response or affection triggers dopamine spikes, reinforcing the desire for approval. This pattern mirrors addiction psychology. The need for external validation becomes a compulsive habit, making emotional well-being contingent on someone else's attention. Over time, this can erode self-esteem and foster unhealthy attachment. The roots of this behavior frequently trace back to childhood wounds. Many men grow up feeling unseen or unvalued, learning, consciously or unconsciously, that love must be earned through effort or approval. These early emotional scars create a blueprint for relationships in adulthood, where chasing becomes a misguided attempt to reclaim lost security. The belief that love is a prize to be won can fuel relentless pursuit, rather than fostering mutual respect and balance. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche's concepts of reactive versus active mindsets provide a powerful lens for understanding this dynamic. Reactive men chase because they feel unloved or incomplete, responding to external stimuli with insecurity. In contrast, active men take ownership of their lives, creating their own value and commanding respect without desperation. The shift from reactive chasing to active creation is key to breaking the cycle of obsession. The consequences of chasing are profound. It often leads to anxiety, distraction, and an erosion of personal boundaries. Instead of focusing on building one's own life, men who chase become entangled in orbiting someone else's world, losing sight of their purpose and self-worth. Understanding the biology and psychology behind this urge is the first step toward reclaiming autonomy and cultivating healthy, balanced relationships. Slave morality versus master morality. The nice guy. Friedrich Nietzsche's concept of slave morality originates from a place of resentment and weakness. It emerges among those who feel powerless and oppressed, valuing traits like obedience, humility, and pleasing others. This morality is reactive, shaped by the desire to avoid suffering and to gain approval by submitting to external rules and expectations. Slave morality praises self-denial and meekness, rewarding those who conform and put others first. In contrast, master morality is born from strength, confidence, and ambition. It values pride, dominance, and the creation of personal values rather than simply accepting imposed ones. The master moralist is proactive and self-affirming, driven by a will to power, the desire to shape one's own life and destiny. This morality prizes courage, self-mastery, and authenticity, celebrating those who lead rather than follow. Society often molds men into what Nietzsche might call the nice guy archetype, a product of slave morality. From a young age, boys are conditioned to be polite, compliant, and suppress their natural desires for fear of judgment or conflict. They learn that being good means avoiding confrontation, pleasing others, and not expressing ambition too openly. While these lessons aim to create harmonious social beings, they can inadvertently foster passivity and self-denial. This upbringing sets a dangerous trap. When a man constantly seeks approval and validation from others, he sacrifices his own power. Approval-seeking signals insecurity and dependency, qualities that are typically unattractive and repel genuine respect and admiration. Instead of commanding his own life, he becomes beholden to the opinions of others, losing autonomy and influence. Nietzsche's warning captures this perfectly. He who cannot command himself must obey others. A man who begs to be chosen or accepted relinquishes his power and agency. The nice guy who pleads for approval is no longer the master of his own fate, but a subject to the wills of others. To escape this trap, a man must reclaim his self-command, embrace his ambitions, and develop values from within, rather than rely on external validation. The Übermensch, Nietzsche's solution. The concept of the Übermensch, often translated as overman or superman, is Friedrich Nietzsche's bold answer to the existential crisis of modern life. Contrary to common misunderstandings, the Übermensch is not a superficial caricature of an alpha male who dominates others through brute force or charisma. Instead, he is a man who has mastered himself, lives fully by his own carefully chosen values, and willingly walks his path alone if necessary. At the heart of the Übermensch is radical self-honesty. This figure faces his inner truth without excuses, illusions, or dependence on societal expectations. He is purpose-driven, forging meaning through his actions rather than waiting for it to be handed down. Emotionally independent, the Übermensch does not rely on others for validation or approval. His sense of self is strong and unshakable. Above all, he is authentic, living in alignment with his deepest convictions, rather than adopting borrowed ideals or false personas. Because the Übermensch fully approves of himself, he does not need to chase after recognition or external validation. This self-approval radiates as a quiet, magnetic power. Others are drawn not by superficial charm or manipulation, but by the sheer centeredness and authenticity that the Übermensch embodies. His presence commands respect and interest naturally. People sense that he is grounded in something real. This energy difference is key. In social and romantic contexts, attraction flows not from performative gestures or shallow confidence, but from a genuine core of integrity and self-mastery. Women and others are irresistibly drawn to this centeredness, which suggests strength without arrogance and confidence without desperation. Nietzsche himself represents the philosophical Übermensch, embodying a relentless commitment to self-overcoming, and creating new values in a chaotic world. Similarly, Leonardo da Vinci can be seen as an archetype, someone who transcended conventional limitations through curiosity, mastery, and innovation. In popular culture, Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, reflects the Übermensch ideal as well, a man who shapes his own identity, overcomes immense personal challenges, and acts from a deeply held code rather than social approval. The Übermensch is not merely a goal, but a continual process of becoming, a lifetime of mastering the self and living authentically, no matter the cost. The danger of obsession, losing yourself to win someone else. Obsession is a silent captor of the mind, an unrelenting force that traps you in an endless loop of thoughts focused solely on one person. When you obsess over someone, your mind becomes a battlefield where every message is scrutinized, every word decoded, and every past conversation is replayed over and over again. This mental fixation steals your peace, turning your focus inward on someone else instead of outward toward your own growth and goals. What you lose in this process is far more significant than you realize. Clarity fades as your mind is clouded with constant worry and hope. Your focus, once sharp and directed toward your personal ambitions, dilutes into a scattered haze centered on another's approval or attention. Self-respect erodes as you make compromises, tolerating behaviors and situations that violate your boundaries. Most critically, your personal mission, the purpose that once fueled your passion and drive, gets lost in the noise of desperate longing. Emotionally, obsession is a form of submission. When your thoughts orbit someone else incessantly, you relinquish control over your own emotional state. You are no longer the captain of your ship. Instead, your feelings are dictated by the actions, words, or even silence of another person. This emotional dependence not only weakens your sense of self, but also makes you vulnerable to manipulation and heartbreak. In the grip of obsession, red flags become background noise. You accept mistreatment, inconsistency, or disrespect because your desperation to prove your worth clouds your judgment. You convince yourself that enduring pain or uncertainty is a necessary sacrifice to gain the affection you crave. This is a dangerous path that can leave lasting scars on your self-esteem and emotional health. Friedrich Nietzsche's philosophy offers a powerful antidote to this destructive cycle. His call to self-overcoming challenges you to fight against your lower instincts, the neediness, the desperation, the fixation on external validation. Instead, he urges you to become who you truly are, a sovereign individual capable of self-mastery. By reclaiming your mental and emotional freedom, you break the chains of obsession and step into your authentic power. Reclaiming your throne, becoming a man worth chasing. Stop chasing, start commanding. The key to becoming a man worth chasing lies not in pursuing others, but in focusing relentlessly on your own mission, goals, and values. When you dedicate your energy to building yourself, your life naturally gains direction and power. You shift from a follower to a leader in your own story. Building inner strength is the foundation. Discipline sharpens your mind and body. Solitude fosters self-awareness, allowing you to understand what truly drives you. This inner fortitude creates a stable core that isn't shaken by external validation or fleeting distractions. Embrace moments alone. Use them to reflect, recalibrate, and reconnect with your purpose. Magnetism flows effortlessly from living with purpose. When you walk your path with confidence and clarity, others instinctively feel your gravity. You don't need to force attention. Your authentic energy naturally pulls people in. This is not about manipulation or superficial charm, but about embodying the kind of presence that inspires respect and admiration. This attraction isn't about cold indifference, but rather centeredness and authenticity. When a man isn't constantly seeking approval or validation, he demonstrates a strong sense of self. This centeredness radiates an unspoken power, making him genuinely attractive. It's not about shutting people out, but about being fully present with oneself, which naturally invites others in. Silence plays a subtle yet powerful role in this dynamic. The power of absence creates intrigue. A man who disappears into his purpose, whether it's work, passion, or personal growth, becomes noticed precisely because he isn't constantly chasing attention. His quiet confidence creates a space where curiosity and admiration can grow. Understanding the difference between arrogance and confidence is key. Walking alone signals a whole soul, not an inflated ego. Confidence is rooted in self-acceptance and inner peace, while arrogance often masks insecurity. When a man walks his path with humility and conviction, he invites respect and genuine connection. Chasing, on the other hand, repels because it screams insecurity. Neediness kills attraction instantly. It feels like a demand rather than an invitation. Women, like anyone, are drawn to those who value themselves enough to walk alone, not out of loneliness, but out of a clear purpose and self-respect. In essence, men who walk alone embody the stability, mystery, and depth that women find deeply attractive. A silent invitation to share a connection grounded in authenticity and strength. The brutal truth and your call to action. Chasing women is more than just a misguided effort. It's a trap born from weakness and emotional dependency. When you pursue validation through others, especially in matters of attraction, you surrender your power and undermine your own value. This behavior signals insecurity and a lack of self-command, making you vulnerable and reactive rather than strong and intentional. True power doesn't come from external approval. It comes from mastering yourself. To rise above, become the Übermensch, the overman, who walks alone with purpose, self-respect, and unwavering resolve. This means cultivating your passions, values, and vision without relying on someone else's presence to define your worth. When you command yourself, you embody a magnetic confidence that no external chase can manufacture. Now ask yourself the hard questions. Am I becoming someone I truly admire? Am I proud of who I am, whether she is by my side or not? If the answer is no, it's time to realign your focus. Your value is not tied to the attention of others. It's rooted in the life you build, the discipline you cultivate, and the integrity you uphold. So here's your call to action. Stop chasing. Stop seeking approval or affection as a way to fill a void. Instead, build your mission. Own your life. Develop your skills, your mind, and your character relentlessly. When you do, the power dynamics shift. The chase flips. Suddenly, you become the man women pursue, drawn not by desperation, but by the strength and autonomy you embody. The moment you stop chasing is the moment you start leading. Own it.